What's up, witches? It's Luna the Zen Witch with a reading of the new moon in Gemini chart. This happens on June 10th, 2021 at 6:52 a.m. in the Eastern Time Zone, so please adjust that for your time zone. I'm doing the beginner's page so we can look at the bar graphs of the elements and modes, and boy, what do you notice? We've got a big fat goose egg in fire. We have a strong Pisces chart signature because we have a lot of water and a lot of mutable. The water is coming from the placement of Neptune and Jupiter in Pisces, Venus and Mars both in Cancer. The mutability comes from all this Gemini energy and also the Pisces planets as well. So the chart signature is Pisces, mutable water, which means that things get foggy. This is not at all a vibe that is clear seeing or detailed, or, Pisces is that nebulous, foggy, spiritual, boundaryless, wandering in the territory of the muse here. The lack of fire is just that, a lack of fire. So we may be really dealing with that sense of a lack of motivation and, how do I move things forward? Well, we're on a Mercury retrograde, so things aren't really going to move forward, a whole lot during this new moon. But let's take a look at the actual chart. So we see the sun and the moon at 19 degrees of Gemini, and we see that retrograde Mercury exactly conjuncts it at 20 degrees and 41 minutes. So it's less than 1 degree away. That is exact. So what do we see here? Mercury conjuncting the sun says, I want to tell you who I am. Mercury conjuncting the moon says, I want to tell you how I feel. Mercury is all about communication, especially in Gemini. So let's, just reiterate all of that, the strong, strong Mercury Gemini vibe here. The problem is, with Mercury retrograde, communication is difficult on a practical level. So we have to find a way to express ourselves here that's outside of the left brain, logical, clear verbal communication. So what does that mean? Well, maybe we communicate in other ways. With a Pisces chart signature, the arts are a natural at this time. So looking at, when I do these charts, some astrologers focus in on, practical matters. I like to try to focus in on spell work and the ritual aspect and the magical aspect of, here are these energies, how do we use them in our ritual work? So what I'm looking at here is, certainly you want to do something of that mercurial Gemini nature, which is about communication. It's about words. But in the Pisces chart signature with a retrograde Mercury, we're going to do this in an artistic way, in a spiritual way. This is a fabulous time to try some automatic writing, to, in your ritual, tap into those energies of the sun-moon conjunction, this energetic reset for the month in Gemini, and sort of, within your magical circle, open yourself up, get into trance state, and just allow your guides to start talking and your hand to start moving. That would be an excellent thing to do. The moon in Gemini itself means that our emotions are variable. So, and we tend to intellectualize them, but with Mercury retrograde, we're not going to make much sense of them when we try to intellectualize them. So the thing here is just to express them. With the sun-moon conjunction at a new moon, it's about expressing your emotional energy and looking at how you identify with your emotions. So I think this would be an awesome time to just do some deep emotional mining, spiritual mining, whether you do automatic writing or not, just to get yourself in that Neptunian, Piscean, trancy state of mind And then just write, just let it flow. Don't edit. Don't think about the purpose of it. It's now about letting it flow in a verbal way, getting those words out, getting the story out, however it wants to present itself to you. And if in the process of that you end up with a poem, or you end up with an incredibly beautiful story that could move other people, well, that's a bonus. Let's look at what else we have to work with in this chart. Very few actual aspects. You see here, it's showing this Venus sextiling Uranus. That's 3 degrees. It's too wide. It's actually closer to 4 degrees. Even this Mars-Pluto opposition is more than 3 degrees off. That is too wide by transit. Same deal with the new moon squaring Neptune. Nope, 4 degrees off. Forget that. Same thing here with Neptune, Pluto. So the ones that we do have that we can look at are, as with the full moon chart, the last one, we've got Saturn sextiling Chiron, and we've got Saturn squaring Uranus. So what can aid and abet this spell work that we're doing with these new moon energies is looking at what our responsibilities are, because this gives us an opportunity to understand the nature of our woundedness, take responsibility for that, start working with the energies in order to heal and transform. And then the Uranus-Saturn square also gives us that tension and drive to bust things open and update. Remember that with Saturn in Aquarius, Uranus is ruling Saturn. So Uranus is actually, pardon me, Uranus is the planet that dominates this square because its influence rules the other planet. So we really are feeling the itch. We're feeling the motivation. We're feeling like a problem has to be solved here, like we've got to update old things. And so this is a great time to be purging out old beliefs, old habits, old structure that no longer serves us. It's time to update your proper business on a Mercury retro, not to actually do the updates, but to do the explorations that show you what needs to be changed, what needs to be updated. So we let the communication flow. If you're doing spell work, then what I would do is launch a spell that asks for any vestigial patterns, belief systems, internalized messages. Just ask for them to show themselves, okay? So like if I'm doing candle work, what would I do here? Gemini, I think I would go with a light blue or a yellow and just visualize the stuff that is buried deep, the faulty messages, the internalized bits of identity that are false, that, you know, people told me this when I was younger, I've internalized it, it doesn't fit me anymore. And you do your spell work and say, please show yourself to me. Please communicate yourself to me in a way that I can make it conscious so that I can bring it up for transformation. That's what I would be doing. And as always, you know the kind of spell work I like to do, to take something and write it out in a way that is rhythmic, that is rhyming, so that you can chant it. I don't have like an example readily coming to mind here, but you've got to personalize it for yourself. You know what you're looking for. You know what you're looking for. And so you set up and say, I am ready. I am ready to receive the knowledge of these old internalized messages. I am ready for this to ripen and show itself so that I can transform it and move it along. All right? You might also be looking at things on a more practical level here, where you've sort of set up a schedule or a process or a regimen that just isn't serving you. It's not right. The schedule's wrong. It needs to be adjusted. So you can also ask for any of those practical logistical things that are wonky to show themselves. So that is a very practical way you can use it. Even though the Mercury energy right now isn't practical, you can ask for the things that are practical that aren't working to show themselves for review so that you can start again. But the intention here is just to clarify, is to clean out the old thinking errors. Ooh, boy, this is a good one, you guys. I hadn't thought about this. If you've done any time in therapy, if you've spent any time at all in therapy, you may have encountered what are called thinking errors. These are things that happen when we get traumatized, and they are coping mechanisms. They might have been handed down to us in a codependent family. But our work is to identify them and weed them out. So I'm not going to give you a list of them. Examples are black and white, either or thinking. Something is either this way or it's that way, pushing things to extremes in black and whites rather than appreciating the both and the gray areas. Other thinking errors are catastrophizing. One small thing happens and suddenly your story tells you I'm going to be dying in a ditch and starving somewhere. What are some other ones? Minimizing your own trauma. That's kind of the opposite of catastrophizing, is there's a problem that needs to be dealt with and it's like, it's no big deal because I just don't want to deal with it. So those kind of things that we just are wrong-headed in our thinking. And these are the things that get installed when we're not looking, when we're not aware, when we're too young to know the difference. So these are the kind of things that you can ask to show themselves to you. All right? I think that's the best possible way to use this new moon. Certainly with all this Pisces energy, it's easy to achieve trance state. It's easy to go wandering in between the worlds and do your magical work. The lack of fire here just says we're not going to be super passionate about it, but there's enough motivation with the Saturn-Uranus square that you should be able to go in and update and get things done. All right? I hope you enjoyed this and got something useful out of it. If you did, please make sure that you like and subscribe. If you really got a lot out of it, consider sending me a donation. Nothing is too small, and I send you blessings for even considering it. I will see you next time for a live stream or an unboxing video or something else kind of random. Until then, be safe. Take care of yourselves. This is the Zen Witch. Blessed be.